I guess we'll get started. So please take notice that an application was received from the following persons for a variance of setback requirements: Gerald Ladston, and it's part of Government Lot 2 in the northeast quarter of Section 36, Township 101, Range 6 in Houston County, and that's in Wilmington Township. He's looking for a variance to reduce the setback requirements for a proposed dwelling from an existing feedlot. Hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room in Caledonia at 5 p.m. on Thursday, November 20th of 2025. All persons having an interest in the matter may attend the hearing or submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. Comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department at 304 South Marshall Street in Caledonia or emailed to the zoning office and must be received by Tuesday, November 11th of 2025 to be included for review prior to the hearing. All comments are considered part of the public record, and this was advertised on November 5th of 2025. So, I guess I can kind of talk about it since Jerry's not here. The Planning Commission reviewed this last month, and it was discovered during the review process and drafting of the board packets that there was a feedlot within the feedlot setback, and since we didn't have the advertised last month, it got pushed back to November. It ends up being the distance is a little bit different. Let's see, we have 134 feet in the board packet, but after measurement of the building, because it has already been started, it ends up being 160 feet rather than the 1320. Or the request is for 160 feet.
As opposed to 134.
Sorry?
As opposed to 100.
Yep, 160 instead of the 134. It is a fairly straightforward. It was an old site. The previous landowners had torn down all the old built like farmstead and then the old house, which hadn't been resided in for a period of time. And so just because of that lapse, the site now has to meet current standards. So that's what's bringing in. That's why they had to do the conditional use and now feedlot requirements.
I think he wanted to get started on it, wasn't that the deal? And he went to the planning commission before the board of adjustment. I made my comment very clear that I'd like to see the horse ahead of the cart instead of the cart ahead of the horse in the future. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not advocating that we shouldn't approve this, but.
Well, I look at, basically that used to be a feedlot there at that location also. There was a dairy barn and everything like that at one time.
Yeah, and I think with where the house, he's moving the house closer to the road, but I think it probably would maintain about the same setback that the house that the old house
Pretty close
had.
to where the old house was.
Yeah.
They tore down all the buildings instead of, the old barn was tore down too, but it was a small dairy barn.
Ideally, we would have done both last time around. I was trying to move it forward for him because he did want to break ground, and in the process, the variance got missed.
So did he start building already?
Yes, and that'll be dealt with.
And how big a feedlot is it that they're close to? Too close?
Just over 2 animal units.
How many?
2.
2? Yeah.
Yep.
Would that be Dale Horns?
No.
No, this is a little farther. This one is Mark Taves.
Oh, sure.
So if we grant this existing feedlot now, will need, if they want to do any work or any changes, they'll need a variance.
Yep.
That's just wrong. And you say we can't include language to the effect that it's not required.
I don't believe so. I have
That's
to run
possible.
that through the county attorney, but we would have to eliminate both of them in order to make that work.
Both of what?
We would have to eliminate the requirement on the dwelling side as well as the feedlot. You can't just, you guys are the only ones, they have to come here and have it reviewed by you guys in order to have a variance approved. It just can't be granted by me administratively in the future.
Can it be granted by
Because-
us?
Yeah, but you're not looking at, when you're reviewing, like now you're reviewing this site, you're not technically reviewing his.
Yeah, that's what I'm always.
I don't like it.
It would be nicer if that, whatever, if that feedlot wanted it, if this one it's for what we approved now, it's all it didn't exist. That's all we're saying, for any
Oh.
other. I think that's kind of what you're looking for. That is, so if they wanted to do some expansion or anything like that, it says, oh, this house does not exist when they apply.
The language that I gave to you basically stated that if they needed a variance for any reason, it would require a variance for any reason besides this. In other words, this particular encroachment that we're gonna grant would not require a variance for the other feedlot. And why can't we use that language?
I think we should.
Well, we're not reviewing his feedlot right now. You're speculating that he
We're
will.
just putting it into the, for future, if there is,
For reference.
that one, that this particular house no longer has any say in that feedlot, because we're granting a variance already.
I think that's different than maybe what I interpret his. You're saying that, and this is kind of the point of the variances. You're saying that they're recognizing that that's a feedlot, and they kind of have, or they have no, unless it's something drastic, they have really no authority to fight that one. But he's saying like when that comes through, I would have to administratively issue that variance, and I can't do that.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what we were after here, and I might be wrong on this, is that if this feedlot was to start out, let's just say it didn't have any, or it had two, or whatever, and we grant the variance, then the feedlot, the registered feedlot, it had to be a registered feedlot, wouldn't have to come back to get a variance, wasn't that right?
That's basically what I was looking at.
Yeah.
Wouldn't need
What are they
a variance from this
bringing forward now?
particular location, but it would from any other that may be around.
Yeah, because we'd already granted
How
a
many are they
variance
permitted
for
for?
this house.
And
Just
and
2
on
animal
this
units.
particular feedlot that we're
Yep,
talking
that's
about,
the
if
only
we wanted
thing.
to expand,
No,
Yep.
Just,
they'd have to
right
get a
now, or
variance.
the most recent
But
one.
if they came in and wanted to do something because of this one that we're granting, they would, I mean, that shouldn't be part of
Right.
the decision making.
But if a new house was built, let's say on the other side of it, we didn't grant no variance, then that feedlot owner would have to get a variance from that new
Right.
house. Isn't that the way you understand?
Or from an offset that's already existing on any place else within that
Right.
range. They would still be required for all the others, but just not this
Just
one.
the ones that
That
we
we
grant
grant
the
the variance.
variance on. So,
That's what I would like to see.
yeah, but I don't know if that's something that takes a,
We don't notify these adjacent feedlot owners of the consequences of granting a variance, do we?
Yes, you
yeah, they
Well-
get a public notice, I think.
But do
Right.
they get a notice that says anything now that they want to do is going to require a variance for them?
No.
No.
Yep, you're correct. You're both correct. They get the notice, just
Yeah.
as you guys did, to state what this person was looking for, but not the direct implications on them.
Right, and that's part of the problem. What if we, in the future, just took the position that in situations like this, those feedlot owners were notified and were part of that petition, and we just simply granted them a variance for the same thing that we're granting this for, so that it's over and done with. We don't have to deal with it anymore, and they don't have to come back for a variance over this variance that we've just granted.
Would this require a zoning change?
I think a lot of it.
Well, the problem is that you're asking for him to receive a variance for an animal unit number that he doesn't know. I mean, we usually attach an animal unit number to that, and he'd just be throwing a number out there. I get what you're saying. I just
Well,
don't know
If they
the.
had to get a variance also, they wouldn't have to pay the fee because of what happened earlier.
We could probably look at doing something like that.
Well, I think the board, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the board here can waive the fee. We have authority to waive the fee, I'm quite sure, if we feel it's necessary. Am I right or am I wrong?
we at it
I would
before
have to
you
double
raise
check
it.
that. Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, go
So,
ahead.
you guys can recommend a policy or ordinance change to the planning commission, because those are that's the board that would make,
It goes to the commissioner.
right.
Yeah.
You as a board of adjustment,
Yeah.
you just interpret the ordinance the way it is written.
Yeah, that's right.
Your job isn't to change policy or
No,
make recommendations, it's just to interpret what's in front of you and what the ordinance says. So, but if you could make a suggestion to the planning commission to look at it, making a change.
And I was hoping to maybe discuss that in December, if you,
You'll never
before
hear
you're
from me.
gone.
You'll never hear from me again.
So.
Let's move on.
So any more discussion before we go to the findings?
Or public comment, I guess.
Or, public comments?
Mark, did you have?
Yeah, so with this
Can you come up here? Thank you.
here, I'm just wondering, will it interfere, okay, if I wanted to have a few more cattle on the farm, if it's gonna interfere that I can't do it?
That's what we were just talking about.
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering, because I'm gonna retire sometime pretty soon, and I gotta have a hobby.
Right.
And if the calves come down, I'm gonna start feeding calves.
Do you remember what the highest you ever registered for was?
No.
I don't think he had that in this report, but that would be the threshold that we would recognize.
Yeah, so I think we were up to 15 one time we were there. So we were. But,
What we're trying to do is protect you from
Yeah,
having to come
protect
back
you.
and pay $500 for a variance over a situation that we stuck you with.
yeah,
The variance that we're gonna deal with today.
that's why I made it to this meeting, because I wasn't gonna get stuck.
Yeah.
That I can't do anything with our property.
Well, you can do whatever
That's what it's saying.
the
now, what I do.
planning commission and the board allows you to do, but it shouldn't hinge on the fact that we've encroached on you with the variance that we're gonna grant tonight.
Yeah,
That's my,
yeah, because,
and that seems logical and reasonable, and why it can't get done is beyond me, I don't get it, but.
yeah,
That's what
I don't wanna get nailed in the end that I gotta,
I
Pay more
don't
money
think
out.
this board would ever do that to you, but
yeah, well,
this board isn't gonna live forever, so. who
yeah.
knows?
And I've been there since 90, since we bought the place, so,
Yeah. So anyway,
so it's just,
So-
I don't wanna be infringed on.
Sorry. So when you register feedlot, I'm asking now, in his situation, is there an animal units attached to that registration feedlot? I know there is on mine, is there in his?
On all-
Yep. So it looks like Jimmy has in this report that currently he's at 2.125 animal units. I don't know what he's historically been at. In these situations, we've recognized whatever their historical high has been. They can always go back to that, but once they exceed that, then they have to go through the expansion.
Yeah.
So what kind
variance.
of proof then would he have to have if, I'm just throwing a number out, 20 animal units, it's just a hypothetical number. How would he have to prove it to you that, or the feedlot officer, that he had 20 animal units there at one time?
We have registration cards from 21, 2017, 13, 2009, 2006, and
Okay.
2001. So that's what we base that on.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've had more before, when I still had the barn.
So then, did you at that time remember then if you had more animal units when they,
Yeah, I had pigs there for the first 10 years, so I did. Then I had about 10 calves and a couple cows on the property. But I know I was up to 20-some pigs at one time, when I had all the buildings there yet.
so my
Yeah.
question is, with what he's been registering, he could be protected now on what he intends to do? To those numbers? I mean, I
To
don't know
those
what
numbers.
number you can come up with, but.
Yeah, probably the disadvantage for you is that it's all small animal units, so it
Yeah.
takes a lot of them to add up.
Yeah.
So if you switch to beef cattle,
Yeah.
then that's not going to be an apples to apples comparison. But
Yeah, but it's just, I figured calves down there, But, like I said, at first, I had 20 to 50 pigs down there at one time before I had to get rid of all the buildings because they were coming down. And neighbors weren't too happy with the wind blowing the tin around, so I had to bury everything. So, but I still kept cattle on the place. And this year I haven't because the price is so high, I can't raise a calf.
So we
When
don't.
we're doing this, we're saying the grant of variance for proposed dwelling, could we also at the same time grant a variance for the feedlot from that proposed house?
She said that because that's not in front of us, there's no petition.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, he didn't make the application, and I guess that's something we can look at in the future.
It ought to be just a part of the whole thing.
That's what I'm thinking.
But when someone comes in for a feedlot variance and there's an encroachment, it ought to go both ways. We ought to grant variances both ways and not charge the person who's being encroached on.
Yep.
So I guess let me ask you this. So you're saying so we have this one in front of us tonight. If we did the opposing one, it'd be it wouldn't be an expansion. You're saying we'd grant a variance to say you can have a feedlot of 2.125
No.
125 animal
No,
units.
all we're saying is that whatever variance he applies for, the one that we grant tonight won't hinder it.
Oh.
In other words, he'd still have to comply with all the FENOC regulations, and I'm not sure what they all are, but they're animal units and sewage pattern, manure, all that stuff. But the only thing that would not affect his ability to get a variance is what we're doing tonight, encroaching on his feedlot. So
What we're
that's-
doing,
So
what we're doing
basically,
tonight should not impinge
Yeah,
him at all.
Right. It
Yeah,
should
I'm
be as
just-
though he
I'm
had
just
a house
worried that
and
it's
wanted-
gonna-
I don't see where that needs to be actually even written, because we're asking him if we can do this, basically, in a way.
Yeah.
And if he's going along with it, as long as he's protected on his feedlot, I don't see.
He's not. He's not protected from a $500 bill.
If he decides to retire and put up 100 animal unit
I'd have to go through
beef
a lot of-
facility there, that's drastically different than what he's had though. So
Yeah.
don't you think that should be reviewed site specifically as
Absolutely.
well?
The only thing that shouldn't be part of that decision is the fact that the decision that we make tonight is gonna encroach on him. And that should not be a factor. That
So that
encroachment
160
should
feet.
not be a factor.
If you expand it closer to that, then you may be a problem, but.
Yeah, but right now my line is where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, if
Yep,
you
it's
wanted-
edge of the line.
Right now, if you wanted to build a shed or a barn or any kind of an accessory building that complied in every single way, he'd still need a variance because we've encroached on him now.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah,
that's,
and he
because
has,
there's some stuff that I might build a building and it might be there again, bigger sort of stuff, so I'll have to check that
there's
out.
also one on the other side. I mean,
Yeah,
there's always so
right.
many
I mean,
factors at
The
play.
reality is, with your location,
Yeah, Dale,
the expansion, you're gonna be caught with feedlots on the other side or a
Yeah.
house on the other side anyway.
yep, it's already
So
there.
you're not.
And Hoshites.
It really doesn't make a big factor on your,
No,
other than if you end up with someone who doesn't want that feedlot here.
yeah. But it's just, I kinda got upset that he has the thing up and everything and I get this in the mail and he's got the footing poured Saturday and the building up already. You know,
Yeah.
he's doing it everything without the final permit to do it, I thought.
Well, what it amount to is the kind of clout that the Board of Adjustment is a rubber stamp, but we just rubber stamp it. That's kind of the way I took it.
He
Totally fine.
he's gonna get a stop work order, and I'm gonna have the deputy drive by every day, and he can get a misdemeanor for every day that he fails to comply with this.
Just one thing.
So I know we
I
don't
ain't
have
got-
any authority to set any animal units for anybody. That's done through the,
I just
know.
don't want him turning around that I got cattle over there and the wind drifts down there if he's gonna be complaining to me about it.
I think on the building, on a building permit, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a stipulation in there that when you build next to feedlot, farm field, what have you, there's dust, there's lights, there can be odor, so on, isn't that, am I right?
Yep. I have included that in passport packets, but that's I guess in my mind, that's what this is for, where the landowner is acknowledging that they're building close to a feedlot. The purpose of the Ag Protection District is for agriculture, and there are, the ordinance has four, it says discomforts resulting from agricultural uses, noise, odors, dust, and hours of operation of machinery, production, storage, and land up of manure, and the application of fertilizers, soil amendments, herbicides, and pesticides. So by making the variance application, they're acknowledging that they recognize these factors may take place, and I think it's fair to say that if he was to come in the future, we could look back if that landowner had an issue. And like we always said, the caveat is sometimes things don't get done as they're supposed to,
Yeah,
but
I just-
you can say that the landowner recognized that whatever issue he
I
has
just wanted to make
exists
sure
there.
I'm safe here, even if he's gonna, I didn't have a thing against him building there, but all of a sudden it's going up. I get this in the mail on Friday, and he's laying concrete on Saturday morning. And my wife said something to me, and I said, just let him do it, because I ain't gonna be able to stop him yet. But I didn't think because I got this saying that he had to get a clearance to do it, and all of a sudden he's got a shell up already. So I just wanted to be careful for my feedlot, because
Well,
You're good.
I don't think he can complain about his feedlot because of what he signs in the building.
The only thing that's in jeopardy right now, I think, is your $500.
yeah, that's all right.
What we're trying to do is.
Yeah, I know
is
how
solve
it
that.
went, because when my daughter built across from the one neighbor, she had to pay that to get it done, and it was okay, but I knew he wasn't gonna go back to feedlotting over there, so. So I'm just wanna be safe here.
Yep, I get it.
Thank you.
I understand, thanks.
Any more before we go to variance? Any other public comments? Go ahead, the variance.
Okay. So the variance request is in harmony with the intent and purpose of official controls. Staff analysis states that area variances are allowed by the zoning ordinance, and revitalizing existing building sites minimizes disturbance on the landscape and retains tillable acreage, which are goals of the land use plan.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Go ahead.
There are practical difficulties in complying with the official controls, and the proposed use of the property is reasonable. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. Staff analysis states that the applicant owns 10 acres and is limited on building due to prime ag land, and a dwelling is a permitted use.
All in
And I
favor,
would like to also add, it was an old building site. So that's.
So that is buildable, correct?
Yep.
It was a building site years ago.
It,
So that's an
Not that
open-
many years ago,
open
actually.
court corner then.
And-
It's an open
About 3
court
years
corner.
ago, there was a house that they tore down the house.
yeah, and it is an open quarter, and that's the problem though, is in a 10-acre site, he can't build on prime ag ground, and if he gets out of any of the old building locations, he's in tillable acreage. So the only way for him, if he was to meet the feedlot setback, he'd be in tillable acreage, which then wouldn't be allowed because of the prime ag rule. So this was his only option for building.
Okay. Everybody in favor of the findings as the words were changed? Or you signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, go ahead.
So you were saying you changed something there?
No, I just,
Okay.
my reasoning.
Okay, that's-
For me, it's just my reasoning for voting for this.
Okay, that's what I had. I just wanted to confirm that. So 3, the variance request is due to special conditions or circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. Analysis states that this is an area of the county used heavily for agriculture, and this property has limited building space due to acreage and prime ag land.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4.
4, that the variance cannot be alleviated by reasonable method other than a variance, and the minimum variance which would alleviate the practical difficulty is sought. Analysis states that the applicant is requesting a minimal variance, and alternative locations would require them to build on prime ag ground, which requires that they own 40 acres. Kind of what we just discussed. He's caught where if he was to push it back the quarter mile, he'd be building in tillable ground that's
He's basically-
classified as prime.
Basically building where only he can.
Yeah.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Then
5, that the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality nor substantially impair property values or the public health, safety, or welfare in the vicinity. Analysis states that replacing the dwelling at this location will keep the site consistent with the essential character of the area, and allowing a small encroachment on a feedlot shall have no effect on public health, safety, or welfare of neighbors.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go to 6.
6, that the request is not a use variance and should not have the effect of allowing any use that is not allowed in the zoning district, permit a lower degree of flood protection than the regulatory flood protection elevation, or permit standards lower than those required by state law. Analysis states that this is an area variance and is not in the vicinity of the floodplain.
All in favor of 6, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I would like, before we get a motion on the findings, excuse me, I would like to have a notation in there that, so we don't run into these problems with people building, that it comes to the planning, the Board of Adjustment before it goes to the planning commission in the future. That's just my suggestion. Maybe you folks don't feel that way.
What determines the order?
Well, normally, you get the variance and then it goes to the planning commission for approval.
If it would have been worked the way they wanted, it would have been both hearings last month.
Right, right. It would have been, came to us first and then it would.
Well, it technically would have been both hearings this month. That was the item I had difficulty getting him to understand.
Okay, a motion.
It,
Got more discussion?
oh, I was just gonna mention, sometimes I don't know remember who asked that. It depends on maybe what the more difficult request would be. Sometimes we'll flip-flop them, but I think typically, it is you guys that would review them first. If there's one that's dependent on the other, though, it might be reversed. So go ahead.
Motion to accept the findings.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
I'll make the motion to grant a 160-foot for the proposed dwelling within the setback, whatever you do. I'll make that motion.
Can I comment on that? So he started building before, what happens to him if we approve all of this? He just goes forward and,
No, he still needs a building permit. So I just became aware of the point that the structure was at today. He has a stop work order that will be hand delivered tomorrow. I was hoping for him to show up tonight. It's an after the fact permit at this point, so he'll have to pay triple the fee for the dwelling. He then, actually what is holding this whole thing up is that I don't have any septic plans or design or anything for him, and so we don't typically issue dwelling permits until we know that there's a septic to go along with it, and so until that gets turned in, he won't get a building permit issued. Like I said, the ordinance cites that this is it can be subject by misdemeanor, and that can be every day shall be a separate offense if we want it to be. So that's an option. That's kind of where I'm at with that.
So then, he has to get a license or sewer company or whatever to take soil borings, or has that been done?
No, none of that's been done.
Okay, so he's also gonna get fined for that, or just the building?
No, because
He just can't
nothing's been
continue.
installed out there as far as septic. So
He can't continue with it?
yep.
Okay, any more discussion? We have a motion, and it's been second, roll call vote.
Ken Anderson,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Dean Hoppel,
Aye.
Wayne Runnigan,
I,
and Ken Visker.
I know. Jeremy brought mine.
Ken,
Oh.
she's calling you for.
I'm sorry. The question is yes, the answer is yes.
Okay.
I don't know the question, but
Okay,
Who,
hope that
no, I was just gonna
you're
say that.
clarified on your feedlot, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Who seconded that?
Well, I guess we're done on that one.
Ken made the motion, I'm just scared for a second.
Oh, they, okay.
Well, we haven't adjourned yet, we got more. Is that
No,
what-
she asked about
Uh,
the motion.
We missed
I
this.
think we didn't, I don't know if we had a second.
We missed the
I
second.
second.
Okay,
Yeah, Ken did. Ken.
Ken.
okay.
We did
Yeah,
the-
there's-
We did the in-camp.
this-
I will say, that'll make things a little easier after you're done, Ken.
Who knows, we might get another. Ken.
That's true. So, yeah, the second one, was pulled. So we have, let's see. Oh, no, we were scheduled for 5:30, so we can move forward. I was thinking it was 5:40.
Okay. The second one was canceled with the property owner.
So the 5:30 then is Vaglon, so, ready to go?
Yeah.
Please take notice that an application was received from the following persons for a variance of setback requirements. James and Cheryl Vaglon, and it's part of the northeast quarter of the northwest quarter in Section 2, Township 104, Range 5 of Houston County, and that's La Crescent Township. They're seeking two variances, one to reduce front yard setback requirements for a proposed accessory structure, and two to reduce side yard setback requirements for a proposed accessory structure. A hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room in Caledonia at 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, November 20th. And all persons having an interest in the matter may attend the hearing or submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. And comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department at 304 South Marshall Street in Caledonia, or emailed to the zoning office, and must be received by Tuesday, November 11th of 2025 to be included for review prior to the hearing. All comments are considered part of the public record, and this was advertised on November 5th of 2025.
Is applicants here? Would you come forward?
So I did have, I'll just add a couple quick things. I did have a couple notes here that weren't in the board packet. I was able to touch base with the Crescent Township as far as Creamery Road, because it sounds like there's some confusion there, but they said that they haven't maintained it in years and feel it should be vacated, but I don't think that it ever has been officially vacated, so that's why we're gonna go through the front road setback. And then I did hear back from the DNR in regards to the floodplain, because this whole proposal will likely end up within floodplain. And they did say that they would call that flood fringe there, which allows building. So I'll let you guys take it.
So you're proposing to put a storage shed now, you win your driveway off the Sixth. I'm assuming where your house sits, that's east, I'm assuming.
Correct, yep,
So you're proposing to build to the west?
correct. Across from Creamery Road.
Yeah, I was there. How many people went and saw it? I had a little hard time understanding it when I read what the engineer had put in there, so I had to go and see where it was, so. Now, you got a well over there,
Correct,
so you're proposing to build in front of the well? Or between the well and the highway?
between the well and the other neighbor's property line, not the highway, the other direction.
Okay, so where is the property line then? Just above where you go up that little knoll?
That little white shed you saw,
Okay,
that's 5 feet from the property line, running west.
okay.
It has all been surveyed. You probably saw the stakes that are right along the road, but then we did go, when I was down there, we went back and looked, the back corner that stake's still there too, so. They do have tight survey control down there.
How many feet of buildings would the DNR want in there, as long as it's in the floodplain? They say,
I guess that's up for, or I'll have to determine that. On the close end, I don't think is actually pretty close. I think it'd be around 2 feet on the far side. And he can talk to about it. They proposed 40 by 60, but it sounds like that's just the largest shed that
That'd be the
they'll put in.
largest, so it would be maybe smaller.
You want a variance for that size. So you have
I
that
want
up to
variance
that
for the
amount.
location,
Yeah,
closer to the neighbor's property line for the little
Yep.
shed. And a variance to get it, because I have to bring in fill,
you're right.
bring it up to
right.
code and everything,
Yep.
so.
Doesn't he have to have a variance from the right of way to the highway too?
Nope, they'll meet the highway setback.
He will be
Yep, he's-
legal on that?
He's meeting the 100-foot highway setback. It's just, and they'll meet the setback from the west, oh. Nope, so then they'll need a little bit from the west property line potentially, and then the south property line.
Oh, see, I understood he needed I thought he was too close to the highway. He's not.
Nope, it's the township road there. And there is,
Six is a township road?
No, no,
Creamery
no.
Road is.
Creamery.
Township road.
Yeah.
That's a minimum maintenance
Sort of,
that hasn't been
yeah.
vacated.
Yeah, it sounds like that's kind of the consensus, is that it should be vacated, but it needs paperwork to actually make that
We
official.
can't because the neighbor lives up above us, so he has to have access, and the only access he has is Creamery Road.
So you don't wanna close or vacate.
No, the town does plow the road on occasion, you know? Not every time, but they do, you know?
And you have no problem with it being open, right?
No,
The way it's been done.
if they're late plowing, I help them out quite a bit.
See, it used to be the creamery right there where we're
Yeah,
gonna be building.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
And the foundation was there, we removed the foundation. What was left of it.
Was that on part of yours, your property?
That was on the same piece of property we want to put the shed on.
Yeah,
Sure, okay.
right there.
Yeah,
Directly
well,
west of
you're
the
really
house.
close to New Hartford.
Or 5 miles from New
Location.
Hartford maybe,
Mhm,
Oh, you're that far?
yeah.
mhm.
We're right where North Pine Creek goes
Yeah.
off 6 and heads
Yeah,
over toward the golf course and up Rose Valley.
okay.
This is only a 2-rod road though, which is why they're getting closer than what you normally see on a township road. Because the minimum they can go is 20 feet off right of way. So that's why it's 37 versus 60 or 53 that we typically see.
It's only 33 foot there.
33 and a half feet, 2-rod.
Yeah.
So if it's 2-rod road, why it'd be 33 and a half feet from the center of the road each way?
The way the,
It's total,
Six-
yeah.
Yeah, 16 and a half.
Yeah, total,
16 and a half.
33 total.
Yeah.
the building will have electric, but no plumbing, no water, just electric.
Okay. Well, then if it's off of the county 6 for the footage, why then that makes a big difference. Do you have any questions?
Were you guys, I think the request was for 15 feet
I
off
have
that
one
line. Did
question
you
on
guys
curiosity, Marlene.
want to go?
What is flood
We
fringe?
talked about 5 or 10.
That's a good
The
question.
edge of the flood.
Can that go forever?
All of these valleys around our county are floodplain to me. You know, can be.
Where did flood fringe, and
I think it's the
So-
edge of a waterway.
Yeah, the floodway is obvious, like the path, usually the creek, where you're going to get that high water volume coming through
Yeah.
and high water occasions. Flood fringe is areas that might see a rise in water level, but you don't necessarily have that
Well,
that heavy flow that comes in there. So that, I guess the idea with buildings is that they can take, they might be able to take being inundated.
there's no
but-
dimension on flood fringe? There's no flood
It's-
fringe, it's 200 feet here, it's 1,000 feet there, you just.
It's all based on topography and the hydraulic analysis that are done.
Okay. Hey, I'm still confused, but that's okay.
So the west end is in the flood fringe?
Yeah, most of that parcel is.
But then, if you correct me, but I thought you said that you would determine how much fill had to go in there, is that correct?
Yep, I'll have to look at exactly where the pink lines are and the contours and give them that benchmark to meet.
Do they want 15 feet or 5 feet to the property?
On the side to the neighbor's fence, I think I asked for 15 foot on a variance. Can I move that closer to 10 feet? Is that
That'd be
possible?
the south property line?
Correct.
South.
Then I wouldn't have to have quite so much fill, for one thing.
Where our shed is now, there's pretty much that.
And that's a little
Okay,
closer.
you got 15, you're at 15 feet between.
15 foot now?
Yeah.
Yeah, another 5 foot would be better for me, but can't do it, we can live with it, so.
Well, I don't think that 5 foot of feet would make a difference.
It wouldn't be a problem because basically there's no building sites on there.
Right.
I mean, it's open.
And the fiberglass corners are still there, so, or the stakes from the surveyor, so.
Right.
I mean, it's a division of property, it was all divided at one time.
Pardon?
These were all one big property or sometime?
No, this
Or this was a creamery area?
Oh, yeah.
is a separate parcel, just that the old creamery was on.
Okay, yeah.
Any more questions? Warren?
You would rather have a 40-foot setback instead of the 35.
Pardon?
You'd like a variance of 40 feet instead of 35, so you can do a 10-foot setback.
Yep.
Okay.
10-foot setback on the south end.
On the
Right.
south side, yeah.
And as far as fill, we're committed to bringing whatever fill it takes to bring it up to code.
Yep, that's addressed in the building permit then.
Okay,
Okay. I could live with a 10-foot, I think, on that.
Any more questions? Any public comments? Well, we can go ahead with findings.
All right, so number one, that the variance request is in harmony with the intent and purpose of official controls. Analysis states that the proposed structure is an allowed use in the agricultural protection district, and front yard and property line setback requests are common area variances allowed by the ordinance.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 2.
That there are practical difficulties in complying with the official controls and the proposed use of the property is reasonable. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. Analysis states that there is a limited building envelope outside of floodplain and property line setbacks, but development will be in floodplain area if determined to be flood fringe, and accessory structures are reasonable and common uses of land.
I had a question on that, but my question was answered when we were. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go ahead.
3, that the variance request is due to special conditions or circumstances unique to the property and not created by the property owner. Analysis states that the property consists of 4, potentially 5 lots of record. Together they are 3.35 acres, but floodplain is impactful to this property and the small lot sizes make meeting property line and road setbacks challenging.
All in favor of 3, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 4.
That the variance cannot be alleviated by a reasonable method other than a variance, and the minimum variance which would alleviate the practical difficulty is sought. Analysis states that when considering small lot sizes, setbacks to the township and county road, and the small area between the bluff and county road, there is just limited building space for any new structures on the applicant's property.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 5.
That the variance will not alter the essential character of the locality nor substantially impair property values or the public health, safety, or welfare in the vicinity. Analysis states that the accessory structures are common in the agricultural protection district, and this proposal will meet setbacks to County 6, should not impact traffic or public safety in the vicinity. There's only one other landowner off Creamery Road, so it experiences minimal traffic.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go ahead.
6, that the request is not a use variance and shall not have the effect of allowing any use that is not allowed in the zoning district, permit a lower degree of flood protection than the regulatory flood protection elevation, or permit standards lower than those required by state law. Analysis states that this request is an area variance. Flood requirements will need to be met, but these variances will not permit standards lower than those required by state law.
All in favor of 6, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Move to accept the findings.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, would you read the new proposed motion before we do anything, so we change that 110 feet so everybody understands? Will you do that, please?
Yep, so a motion to grant the following variances. 1, a variance of 28 feet to meet the required 65-foot setback from the center line of Creamery Road. 2, a variance of 40 feet to meet the required 50-foot setback to the south property line. And 3, a variance of 10 feet to meet the required 50-foot setback to the west property line.
So you understand where those are, what we're talking about?
Yep.
Okay. Any more discussion on, is there a motion for that?
The
Wait.
township, they're okay with this?
Yeah, they had no concerns. He didn't provide that in writing, but.
So move.
Ken Anderson, you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I'll make the motion or a second either way.
That's the one I'll second. It gets confusing.
Oh, you got who made the motion and who made the second?
Yep, the Kens. Ken Visker motioned and Ken Anderson seconded.
Any more discussion before we vote? Roll call vote.
Franklin,
Aye.
Dean,
Aye.
Wayne,
Aye.
Ken Visker,
Aye.
and Ken Anderson.
Aye.
Andy, thank you.
Good luck.
Any more discussion before we adjourn? We do have a meeting in December.
And one quick question.
Yeah.
Getting late in the year, how long is this variance good for?
Variances have no expiration.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
It's a piece to the puzzle, it just fits right in.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Thank you. Good luck.
We got caught up in that one by Hoka one time, there was confusion about enforcement. You guys have enforcement provision, right? When someone doesn't comply with.
Oh, yep.
Up on Union Ridge.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, because
Oh, yep.
there was I think at that time, there was some question as to who could enforce the provisions that we approve.
Yep, that's
That would be
us.
you, and you're the sheriff. Yeah.
Anything else, board, before we adjourn? Discuss?
So we go adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, folks.